Hello again, this is Executive Insight. I'm Martin Warwick, and today I'm talking with Aaron Rattue, who is the Business Group Director with GfK. Why is there a need for a new type of research which covers what they call the full clickstream? Explain what the clickstream is and then tell us why that's necessary.
So with regards to the data issue, so now for probably 5 years we've been saying, okay, we need flat data rates, we need fantastic user experience. Now those things are in place, okay? And the good thing about it is now the market's taking off. But the bad news about it is with flat data rates, you're getting lots and lots of data traffic and too much in certain peak times. And so operators need to get a lot cleverer to actually match and segment and have flexible pricing issues, because it's clear that flat data rates, although it works to get penetration up, as a long-term solution with these very, very data-heavy applications and these very, very fast mobile phones, it's going to have a huge impact. So GfK needed to address this space because it's moved on from just purely the sales of devices, which is where GfK's heritage and research is from. It's now moved on to what you're doing with your device. That's much more important. That's where the money is, that's where the value is. And the operators need to segment based on value. And so you're looking at, there's maybe only 10% of people that are generating 40, 50% of this traffic, 60% of the revenue. So finding out who these guys are and adapting your service, your policies, your pricing and your tariffs is imperative. So from our side, what we've done is we've partnered with a technology company called Qosmos, who have developed specific probes that can read web traffic. So from our side, with the access to the web traffic, you can look at and segment depending on usage. You can actually see where the peak times are.
Okay, well let's talk about the solution itself then. I mean, it's network intelligence solution. What is it, and what are the benefits, what are the value that your customers get out of it?
So in essence, we place a probe on the 3G network, and it follows all of the clickstream, the web behavior, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
GfK are able, with our global database, to process huge amounts of information very quickly. We already have that in place, and so one of our USPs is we can handle all that, because we often find that networks themselves have huge amounts of data, and some of them can't necessarily get to it quickly and classify it. So we offer that as one of the USPs. The approach of doing a probe rather than log files, which is what an awful lot of other research firms do, is twofold. Firstly, with the log files, you're asking the operator to generate something and send it to you in whatever format. You need it in the same format if you're going to benchmark yourself. So automatically there's further load on the operator and there's more room for error, and as well it's slower.
Right.
So we would access the information, mirror it off to our database, immediately code it with all the classifications, and then report back to the operator exactly what they want to see in real time. So from that side, that's a huge benefit. One of the other areas for the future of the revenue, and another buzzword here, is mobile advertising.
Absolutely,
clearly. Yeah. So this is the benefit of our approach, is that with log files, you need the category codes of every single piece of content, every single ad, in order to code it. Our probes can identify it from the information we're gleaning. So in terms of turnaround time, and often with advertising, people need to know in real time. You know, we put the TV ad on, does it lead people through, etc. So from that side, you can give the real-time reaction on content, and you don't need that content owner to tell you the code and give you all the classification. We can do that ourselves.
What's the current status of your project, and does it fit within that idea of a 360-degree view of the subscriber, the end user?
Yes, it does. There are things to bear in mind, so you can't, with privacy issues, you can't necessarily go down to individuals.
Sure.
Right? So that's very, very clear. So you
segment into groupings.
It's always aggregated information, so
right.
Just to make sure that's safe, and obviously the operators are very, very clear about that.
Yep.
Our progress depends, because there are some service providers, some operators that are more willing to do that, and maybe are the more disruptive in the market that they're in, and there's others that I'll be second to market, third to market. So we identify from all of our clients, and we work with a huge amount of operators across the world, which ones are more open to this, and as well what you do need for this in certain countries, the use of 3G or mobile advertising is not going to take off, or it's not big already. The penetration of smartphone is not big enough, so you don't go to Egypt where it hasn't taken off.
Yep.
You go to places where smartphones dominate. In the UK, you've got 30% of phones now are smartphones. So from that side, we've chosen a number of countries and gone with a number of operators to say, initially, proof of concept, this is how we can do it, and show them very, very quickly within the space of 2 months of setting it up, putting in the infrastructure, we can report like this is the information you need. And then after that, we would then go to try and aggregate the entire country, because one of the other benefits is it's great initially for the operator to understand its own customers, and because of the scope of most of them, it is quite representative of the population, but they do want to benchmark themselves. And so from that perspective, you need all of the operators, or at least a couple of the other ones, to provide the information, so we aggregate it. And GfK are world experts at this, because this is what we do with our retail sales of mobile phones. So from that side, we install it with the Qosmos probe. It then starts mirroring off the information. Once we've classified all the information, it then works automatically, so it's real time. But certain operators are more reluctant, and certain countries, because of privacy issues or because of the nature of the country. So
the regime, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Do you have any examples that you can tell us? I know a lot of people are always very wary about saying which operators they work with and all the rest of it, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Do you have any examples of of how this is currently working and where?
We do. I'm under NDA, so I can't name the operators.
Right.
Yeah. But for example, one example of some output we did. So we ran a test over a certain time period where there was a bank holiday,
right,
national holiday,
right,
and so you could track the timing of web traffic.
Right.
So for example, if it was in the UK, you can know when the Queen's speech was and see, does that really affect significant web traffic? If there's a football game on or something like that, you can track it up. And so we've been able to identify just the impact of certain events, what they can do. So if you're an operator, you can already start planning, okay, well, we know there's going to be a hit. Fair enough, you would expect that, but how big is that hit, and how many people is it coming from? What we are seeing is, one of the key aspects is the mobile web is the social web. So the vast majority of activity is just on peer-to-peer.
Right.
Web browsing, yes, it's taking off. Downloading or streaming, it is there. But when you compare it with the other mediums, it's really social networking. And then you can identify which devices and exactly how frequently, how long people are on it. And with smartphones, the length of time they stay connected is longer than even in the laptop. So we're comparing the laptop versus the smartphone. So I think those are sort of some of the nuggets we're getting at. But like I say, we'll be able to announce a lot of big numbers soon. But
well, look, here's your chance to make a pitch globally now. Final questions. Okay, then. If you have a call to action, what is it?
Well, first and foremost, come and see me, because it's, to be honest, it's time for action, to be honest, and it's time for risks and bold moves. Like you say, the nature has changed. Okay, so most other technology markets are much more stable. It's very, very volatile in mobile, and a lot of that is because we don't know what's next. This is clear. This is here to stay and is the future. And as you mentioned before, there's other players now coming in to the mobile space. So the telcos that are here already, unless they move, and they move first, they're going to lose out. So from my side, it's coming the service providers and operators, you need to start acting now.
Okay, really interesting stuff. Fascinating. Aaron Rattue, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.